In my last video, I used a fan to try to cool a hive down, a little small fan. Hey Beak Squad, David Burns, good to be with you today. Don't have any coffee today, it's way too hot. Got some ice water in there. Good to be with you again. Yeah, I used a small hive to see if we could maybe help pull out some of the hot, moist air out of the top of the hive. And I did it just for fun as an experiment. And at the end of that video, I mentioned that, you know, these kind of technology things that we want to throw at hives to help them out usually don't work at all. But it's fun to try them because so many of you keep asking me to try stuff. And what if I do this? What if I do that? So for fun, I'm showing you that, yeah, pretty much these things don't work. So you don't need to leave a lot of comments telling me they don't work. I kind of already know that because I've tried a lot of these things over the year. But what if we bring out the big guns and use a larger fan and try to suck hot air out of the hive? One of the problems that we run into anytime we try to draw air out of a hive through the screen bottom board below, we're just pulling in hot air that's already humid. Like right now, it's 92 degrees Fahrenheit, and we have a humidity close to the mid 80s, 85, 86% humidity. So if we draw the hot air out, we're not really helping things out too much because we're just sucking in more hot, moist air. But today we're going to give it a try and have a little fun, see if we can pull some air out of a hive. And while I'm out there, I'm going to try something I've never tried before. I'm going to ice my hive. I'm going to actually put ice on top of the hive and see if we can get some of that cold air to sink down into the hive and help them be a little cooler down there as well. So again, that's going to be fun today for us to try. Let's go out to the field. I'm going to get so hot today, and it's going to be a lot of fun just tinkering around, seeing what we can do. And I've got some really good pointers that really do work, that have been proven to keep your hive cooler, and I'm going to share those with you today. So watch the video all the way through. Now let's head to the field and get to work. Today we're actually going to put a big fan on it and see if we can draw a lot of air up out of the hive. I do feel hot air rising quite a bit out of the hive, so let's put a big fan on here. I'm going to have to get some power. I'm going to use a battery and an inverter to power my huge fan. Let's put it on there. Here's the fan. Now that is one big fan. Wow, that thing will move some air, I'm here to tell you. I know it'd be better if I sealed off all the corners so it would only draw up and out, but it's going to help a lot. Let me plug this in. Okay, so now let's hook up our inverter. I'm going to put the red one here, the black connector here. All right, here's the inverter. We're going to plug our fan into it because we're really far out in the field away from any kind of power source. So let's see, let's plug that in now. We don't want to turn it on just yet. Let's make sure the fan will work off the battery. Turn the inverter on. Let's see, let's turn this on low. Oh yeah, there it is. Look at that. You can hear it cranking up, powering up, medium, full power. This one will chop your fingers off, so good thing we have a big cage on it. Let's move it on to here. Wow, it just sucked everything that was on the floor in there, so it is working. Let's see if it's changing much at the entrance. It's hard to tell, really. I'm tempted to blow some smoke in the entrance and see if I see it come out of the top. Okay, so we'll smoke and see if we can get smoke to come out of the top of the hive. Let's watch. Oh yeah, oh wow, lots of smoke. So we are actually successfully moving a lot of air through that hive. Pretty warm outside. Right now my car thermometer, when I was buying the ice, said it was about 96 degrees, but over here in the shade, looks like we're right around 90 degrees. And so let's push the probe in between the two deep boxes, which is going to be pretty close to the center of the brood nest area, and get an idea of what our temperature is going to be before we turn our fan on. This is about where we got to yesterday, about 96 degrees roughly. And so let's go ahead and leave it at 96. We'll monitor it, but let's go ahead and plug in the fan and see what the temperature might do to change. All right, we turn the fan on, and the temperature has gone up to 97. Let's see. So the ambient outdoors temperature right now is roughly about 90. And it'd be interesting to see if we are able to pull up some 90-degree air and help cool that hive off. The probe down between the two bottom deeps is where we have it. Well, we've allowed this to run for quite some time, and again, what we're seeing is that bees in the brood nest area are very good at maintaining a temperature no matter what you do to the hive. We're sucking a lot of air through the screen bottom board, straight up through the brood nest area, the two deeps, and then out through the top here. We drop down to 97, but see, they're gonna take it right back up to about 98. What happens if we flip it over and blow air down? Whew, obviously, it's not blowing except through a few holes at the top here, so we're not blowing it right onto all the frames. We're just forcing air down through the feeding systems, two circle holes and the triangle hole. And that's going, the probe again is in between the two deep boxes, so it's a couple of boxes below the top of where the fan is. All right, let's turn the fan off, all the way off now. $96. 97. So here's what I'm doing with the ice test. I'm going to put the ice basket here. Now this ice basket has holes all around it to provide a cool spot up above here. I'm going to put the ice basket here. Then I'm going to put a deep shell around it with a top cover. And so bees will have cold air on top that will be bleeding through these holes, and it won't be able to drip out until it gets about this high. And so since the hive is angled toward the front, those holes in the front will actually cause the water to drip out of the container before it drips out back here. So all the water that does melt from the ice up here is going to run out the front and drip onto the front of the hive, simulating like a brief rain shower. Let's get the ice and fill our tray up. I can't tell you how hot it is in this bee suit. When I went, now let me pour this. I'll talk after I get this ice in here. When I bought the ice, I actually stood in line in front of the big ice box. People were buying so much ice. Now that's a large bag of ice, and it filled up the box pretty nicely. Now maybe you can see the angle. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it is angled significantly to the front. So we'll put the box on like this. Let's just slide it back a little bit. All right, let's put our top cover on the ice box here on top. I think what I'm hoping to happen is, since I've got the Burns feeder on it with a lot of little holes, there's two circle holes and the big rectangle hole, that the cold air may actually drop down. Cold air kind of falls toward the hot air maybe, and so I'm hoping that they'll feel some cool air coming down from the top. We put the ice box on the hive maybe about 30 minutes ago, and the outside temperature right now is running, as you can see, about 91 degrees. So what we're going to do is lay this just on top of the Burns feeding board inside there. I'll put it all in there. We'll close the lid a little bit. I don't want too much cold air to escape. We're just going to see what kind of temperature we have on the floor of the Burns feeding board after the ice has been around it for about a half hour. So let's give that a try real quick. And it's dropped all the way down to 66 degrees. Look at that. Wow, 66. Now we're doing these little experiments because I get these questions asked a lot. And I think in all honesty, the conclusion is these little attempts to maybe control our hive's environment by external or technology devices like this, it's pretty much useless. It says a lot for the bees to be able to keep their temperature regulated. Bees are well equipped with thermal regulating their hives to the temperature that they need, especially the brood nest area, all summer, all winter. That's been proven. And trying to give them a little boost could help them if we have a little breeze or a little air But again, what I'm falling back to over and over again is these things really don't change much at all. It's probably not worth our time. But what really can help, again, is shade, have a water source nearby, and allow some ventilation in the hive by either propping the lid open a little bit or opening up your screen bottom board. Just help the bees have a little more ventilation. Those seem to be the big hitters and the big winners of keeping your hive cooler on hot summer days. Now, if you're making your way all the way through summer with a hive that is extremely defensive, aggressive, and hot, all of those terms, and you're tired of working it because they sting you so many times, they're all over your face, hands, and everything, you can't work them anymore, it's time probably to kill that queen and give them a new queen, and hopefully that will change the genetics and change their disposition. I've made a video right here on how you do that. How can you get rid of an old queen that's too defensive and replace her with a queen that hopefully is a lot nicer? Let's take a look at this video. I'll see you guys right over there.